Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, especially to Ma'am Avelina de Venosa. My name is Shekinah Blessed Publico, and I am from ABMF, and my topic is all about the future value and present value of money in business finance. This topic explains how money grows through interest and why money today is more valuable than money in the future. Before we start our discussion, let's have an activity first. In this activity, we're going to decode numbers. For example, A is equivalent to 1, B is equivalent to 2, and so on. I'll give you 3 minutes to decode the numbers. So let's start our discussion. First, the interest. It is the cost of holding money. It is the amount charged by the lenders to the borrowers, users of money, and is usually paid at regular intervals. So, in simple words, ang interest ay ang bayad sa paggamit ng pera. Ito ang binabayaran ng humihiram at kinikita ng nagpapautang o ng bangko. Next, we have the simple interest rates. It is the interest on the amount invested or borrowed at a given rate for a given time. It is usually associated with loans or investments which are short-term in nature. The interest can be computed by using the formula below. I is equals to P times R times T, where I is interest, P is principal, R is interest rate, and T is time. So ito ang ginagamit na formula when we solve the interest. Next, the maturity value. So maturity value is computed by adding the computed interest with the principal, where the formula for this is MV equals P plus I, where the MV stands for maturity value, I interest, P for principal. So, ang maturity value ay ang kabuuang halaga ng pera sa katapusan ng panahon, kasama na ang principal at ang interest. So we have an example here. How much is the interest expense of a 3-month notes payable worth 20,000 pesos with a stated interest rate of 5%? How much is its maturity value? So to solve this, we're going to write first the formula and substitute the givens. for the formula, I equals P times R times T, and for the givens is equals to 20,000, interest rate equals to 5% per year or 0.05, and for time it is equivalent to 3 months or 3/12. So first we're going to multiply the 0.05 to the time, which is 0.25. So 0.05 times 0.25, that is 0.0125, times to 20,000, that is 250. So the interest expense is 250. So for the step 2, to compute the maturity value, first we're going to write the formula. MV equals to P plus I, which is the principal, and then the interest. So let's substitute the value. So MV equals 20,000 plus 250, that is 20,250. So that is the maturity value. So let's move to the compound interest. Compound interest, it means that interest earned or incurred in the first period will also earn or incur interest in the second period, unless indicated otherwise, and given interest rate in period or annual or period of 1 year. So in simple words, compound interest means interest earns interest, making money grow faster. So ang interest ay kumikita rin ng interest, kung kaya mas mabilis na lumalaki ang pera. Concept of compound. If interest is simple, it means that only the original principal would earn or incur interest. If interest is compounded, it means that the interest earned in prior periods would also earn in the subsequent. So, sa simple interest, principal lang ang may interest, while sa compound interest, pati dating interest ay may interest. Simple interest applies only to principal, while compound interest applies to both principal and past interest. So, we're going to have another example for the compound interest. The situation is, assuming the bank would charge compounded interest on the loan, need to pay exactly 10% for every year that the loan is outstanding. Term of the loan is 3 years and the principal is 150,000, and the total interest to be paid over the term of the loan would be. The formula for the compound interest or the future value is FV, or future value, equals to principal multiplied by 1 plus R raised to T, or the time. So we're going to substitute the value. So for FV equals 150,000 multiplied by 1 plus 0.10 raised to 3. So that is 1 plus 0.10 raised to 3 is 1.333 plus times 150,000, that is 199,650. So that is the future value or the compound interest. So to compute the total interest, the formula for this is total interest equals to FV minus 5. So let's substitute the value. 199,650 minus 150, that is 49,650. So that is the total interest of the given problem. Next example, the banker further told you that some loans do not simply compound annually. Some banks would offer interest rates that are compounded quarterly. Using the same example of principal of 150,000, interest rate 10% in term of 3 years, let us compute for the future value of the one by applying the formula as shown below. So FV equals to P multiplied by 1 plus R over 4 raised to T. where FB is the future value of loan and paid balance at the end. The P stands for the principal, R for interest rate for one time period, T equals to number of time periods. So notice that even with the same interest rate, the future value of the loan increased from 199,652 to 200,735 if we choose to have a rate that is compounded quarterly, as such as the 10% compounded annually cannot easily compare to a 10% loan compounded quarterly in order to be So in order to compare the interest rates that are compounded differently, we need to call the effective annual interest rate, or the EAR of the loan. So for the formula, EAR equals to 1 plus M minus 1M, where EAR is the effective annual interest rate, M number of times compounded per year, and the R is equals to the interest rate for one time period. Applying the formula above, let us solve the EAR of our previous example, where the interest rate of 10% is compounded quarterly. So here is the solution. Now let's proceed to the present value of the money. So present value refers to the value of the money at present. Hence, the 100 pesos in your pocket today has a present value of 100 pesos. However, the amount of 100 pesos in 10 years from now is not the same as 100 pesos today. Its present value is definitely lower. For the present value formula, PV equals FB multiplied by 1 plus 1, where PV stands for the present value, FB for the future value, I for periodic interest rate, and N for total numbers compounding periods. So for example, Prince's goal is to have an investment of 500,000 after 4 years. The amount to be invested will earn interest of 12% compounded quarterly. So to solve this, let's write the formula, and now let's determine the amount to be invested by Princess at 12% interest compounded quarterly. Princess' goals is to have an investment of 500,000 after 4 years. The amount to be invested will earn interest of 12% compounded quarterly. So let's solve this. So here is the solution. So based on the computation, Princess needs to invest about 311,805 today to reach 500,000 after 4 years. Let's move to the present value annuity. The present value of annuity refers to the present value of all individual investments or deposits made. Each individual investment is discounted, and then all the discounted amounts are added to represent the present value of annuity. So, in simple words, the present value of annuity represents the current value of a series of equal payments. Ito yung kasalukuyang halaga ng sunod-sunod na pantay-pantay na hulog o bayad. Here's the formula. So, PV equals A, 1 minus multiplied by 1 plus 1 raised to negative n over 1, where PV represents the value of annuity, A for the annuity, I periodic interest rate, and N total compounding periods. So for example, determine the present value of the quarterly annuity of 3,000 for the 8 years. Easy plans to invest 73,000 at the end of every quarter for 8 years at the interest rate of 10% compounded quarterly. So here is the solution. The present value of the annuity is approximately 73,000. So to wrap up again the discussion, the topic explains the time value of money, which means that money today is more valuable than the same amount in the future because it can earn interest. The lesson also highlights the difference between the simple interest and then the compound interest, where compound interest allows money to grow faster since interest earns interest. Furthermore, understanding future value and present value helps individuals make wise financial decisions in saving, investing, and borrowing money. So for the valuing question, if you receive 5,000 pesos today, how would you apply the idea of time value of money to make a wise decision about using or saving it? So for me, if I receive 5,000 today, I would apply the idea of the time value of money by saving or investing it instead of spending it immediately. I understand that money today is more valuable because it can earn interest and grow over time. By saving or investing the 5,000, I can increase its value in the future and use it for more important needs in the future. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your time and attention. Hope you've learned something from my report about calculating the future value and the present value of money. Thank you and have a nice day.